After 6 months of injecting myself in the stomach, feeling fatigued, unwell, and having to wrap myself up in bubble wrap because my immune system was wrecked, I still ended up having a flare. In that moment, I realized doctors sell a lie. They say all it takes is this drug, or this med, or this pill, and it'll put you in remission. But I wasn't going to believe this lie anymore. I've been symptom-free and in remission from my UC for the last 19 months using the carnivore elimination diet. I'm not going to lie to you, having UC has been really hard until I understood what I'm going to show you in this video. Healing isn't linear, and that small little bit of realization has left me feeling even more frustrated and more confused. Where did this whole linear approach come from? So obviously when you get diagnosed with UC, you speak to the doctor, they talk about obviously the ideal thing was to use medication to get you into remission. And the way that they talk about it, it's like they say your bowels are currently trying to attack itself. So what's happening is they're calling too many white blood cells, which then is attacking your system. So all we need to do is basically calm the system down with meds, get you in remission, and then that should be it. They don't talk about anything else other than that. So the way they portray it is that your healing goes up like this. So you get diagnosed with ulcerative colitis at the bottom. The next stage, you start medication. If that medication doesn't work, you just try something else. And then if that doesn't work, you try something else. And then you keep going, and hopefully, it's all linear like that. But in reality, healing is not linear at all. Healing goes up a little bit, then maybe you plateau for a little bit, and then you drop, then you maybe go plateau again, and you come spiking up. Healing itself has loads and ups and downs, and there is no linear motion whatsoever. And I've experienced this recently. So obviously I've been doing the carnivore diet 19 months, and my UC symptoms have been in remission. So I kind of thought I was like this now. I say, oh, my healing's going great. But then it's now gone like that, and then it's got down a little bit because there's something else that's come up that I need to heal. But if I carried on going the way I was going, then I would never have come to the conclusion of healing is not just all about ups, it's about going across and coming down and going back up. This is the way that you learn that there's new things underlying that's going on in your system. I honestly know this is a tough pill to swallow, especially when you're first being diagnosed with UC. When someone comes to you and says, it's going to be hard, and I'm not fucking joking, it's going to be hard to get you in remission, like proper remission, not just some symptom bloody suppression like the doctors want. If you want to get into true healing remission, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be all up. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be moments when you want to just give up, because UC is a chronic illness. So it doesn't just necessarily affect a bit of inflammation in your body. It affects a lot of things. So what you have to address is the gut damage. So obviously every time you have a flare-up, your bowels itself will end up getting damaged. That needs to be healed. Your microbiome, every time you try new different drugs or the drugs that you had previously, that gets messed up. So you've got to try and solve that. Then there's stress. If you've got a lot of stress in your life, you've got to relieve that, because stress is a massive trigger. So it's like everything else. And histamine intolerances. There's foods that you can tolerate before, but now all of a sudden you can't because of the reactions that you're having in your bowels, which are causing more inflammation. So when you're thinking, oh, well, I used to be able to eat that, why can't I eat it anymore? So that's kind of like histamine reaction. You need to sort out SIBO, MCAS, adrenal functions, nutrition deficiencies, low-grade inflammation, nervous system, lupin. There's a whole range of stuff that needs to be sorted out. And I can't believe that I believed the bullshit that came from these doctors just to say this medication will solve everything. How the fuck will basically that little medication solve the whole big picture? All it does is basically the doctors just manage symptoms. They don't actually get to root healing. All they do is manage. Oh, you're getting a bit inflamed, a bit of blood, right, we'll try and solve that. Oh, what's that, you're going to do a cramping, we'll try and solve that. Oh, what's that, you're not in remission yet, we'll try and give you a different drug. That is the only thing that they try to do. And to help you along your path, if you check the top link in the description, it has got my 90-day regenerative UC healing protocol. This is about the whole thing, the whole aspect of healing like I've just discussed. Now, doctors themselves, as I said, just want to, manage symptoms. But you've got to become a scientist. You've got to be able to experiment. You've got to be able to learn new things and try things out on yourself. Because all they want to do, give you the pill to manage that. But what about all these other things that are going off? Unless you can get to the root cause, you'll constantly be having flare-ups. Like I've had flare-up after flare-up after flare-up over the full 12 years of me having this disease. And every time I kind of thought I was getting somewhere, getting into my remission, taking the pills and stuff that they want me to do, and then I'd end up having a flare-up on these medication. I'm thinking, well, how is that even possible when I'm supposed to be, getting in remission? Instead of getting to the root cause of the real deep healing that it's going to take to solve this UC, diagnosis that you've got. We've got to get to the root cause. So basically, you've got to think outside the box. There's got to be things that you've never even heard of. There's things that I've brought forward to my IBD specialists, and they haven't even got a fucking clue what I'm talking about. One of the most recent ones recently is talking about SIBO and leaky gut. And they didn't have a clue what I was honestly talking about. And this is the medical profession that is supposed to be helping you get in remission. And they don't even know about basic things to do with, your, intestines, or basically anything to do with, other things apart from medication. And then once you start seeing yourself as a scientist, this will lead you to become a lifelong learner. You'll be knowing that every second that you are taking every day, you're moving towards getting healed and having that great life that you're actually planning to have. So you'd be able to go out and play with your kids without shitting your pants. You'd be able to go to work without getting embarrassed because you've got to rush to the toilet however many times a day. Then there's obviously you having a feeling amazing, because normally when you're having a flare, you feel absolutely fatigued and tired and drained and you can't really do much. And then obviously once you've got everything in all eggs in a row, you'll have the mental stability to handle anything. You'll be able to control your own situation. It's about taking control of yourself and how you're going to go forward healing. And this gives you immense power. When you know you've got the power to heal this debilitating disease by just doing a few certain things to help you get to that healing stage, it gives you so much power. But you have to accept there's going to be some tough times. So realistically and ultimately, you need to be able to push through the hard times to get to that, that pasture new, as they say. The grass is green on the other side. You've really got to have the, acceptance that it's going to be tough. But when you get there, life is so much better. As I said, there's a pre-sale from a course in the top link in the description. It goes through everything you could possibly think of, mindset. It goes through, obviously, using the carnivore elimination diet. It goes through how to basically seal your gut, how to get a good gut microbiome, how to do all these different things to heal in a great holistic way. So the key things that made my healing less hard was letting go of a linear cure. Accepting that there's going to be up and downs, embracing the scientist mindset, and experimenting, learning. So basically, it's like an analogy. Do you know the person who invented the light bulb? It took him about 1,000 attempts to create the light bulb. This is kind of like when you are a scientist for yourself. You're going to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying until you find that one thing that is basically the final missing piece to creating the healing that you actually deserve. Then there's obviously the mental resilience. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. You've got to realize that you're on a journey. You've got to accept what comes at you, and you've got to accept that there is going to be times where you'll end up flaring and realizing, why have I flared when everything seemed to be going so well? Then obviously there's the reframing, the flares itself. The flare itself could be just basically an indication that you slightly miss something, or that there's something more underlying going on. So don't ever think that a flare is necessarily a really bad thing, because I used to panic like hell when I had a flare up and I used to hate it. Now I kind of use it as a learning tool to tell you there's something else going on that's smoldering away in the background that needs sorting out. But let me know in the comments below, what is the most frustrating ups or downs you've had in your healing journey so far? You got to remember, you are not alone in this journey. There's millions of people out there suffering from UC. Let's all join together and try to basically get you healed, because that is the ultimate goal. Top link in the description for my 90-day protocol. This is the protocol I wish I had when I first got diagnosed with UC. It's very intensive and it's going to be amazing. So top link in the description. Remember, the non-linear path is normal, even if it's going to be tough. Subscribe if you want to hear more about real talk healing UC. See you again soon.